Hey everyone, welcome back to Crystalline. In the last episode, things got a little spicy. I won't spoil what happened. You're going to have to go back and see that one for yourself because I don't even want to talk about this in this one. But we've made it through the Earth Temple, and, well, as you can see, we're getting to the core. Let's get right back into it. We finally make it to the core of the temple. The center of the temple is a lot different than the rest of the place. For one, it's not crumbling apart. Birds flitter across the sky and there's a lush greenery all around. Sitting in the middle of the garden is a beautiful woman. Look at those birds! Look at those cute, adorable birds. Birds. Jesus Christ. I mean, why do... I ain't gonna complain. Everybody loves Big to Dump. Her dress is the same green as the plants, and there is something about her that feels warm, inviting, and alive. The sounds and voices of my friends fade away as I'm filled with the tranquility and beauty of nature surrounding me. She raises her hand at her touch. I feel a sense of calm and peace. Just like at the fire temple, I can feel the revitalizing effect of the energy absorption. Oh, I should do this. Thumbnail? Yes, please. The more energy I absorb, the more translucent the elemental becomes, until with a smile, small smile, she disappears. Oh. Slowly, the scenic nature view fades from the senses, and I'm pulled back to the crumbling ruins of the temple and the curious faces of my friends. Amy and Liana hover by me as the Pongo looks up at me from the ground.
His pupil dilation is returning to normal.
Poi poi.
Are you feeling okay? You completely zoned out there.
I nod. I still feel dazed as the remnants of tranquility begin to fade.
Did you see the Earth Elemental?
I did. This time, though, it felt different. When the energy was channeling into me at the fire temple, I felt a rush of passion and strength. This time, I felt more of a sense of peace and calmness.
I can confirm you did absorb a substantial quantity of energy. However, your mention of feeling emotions based on absorbing differing elemental energy is quite fascinating. It is something which has never been reported before, given that humans of Terra cannot absorb energy. Once your senses have fully returned to normal, I would appreciate discussing in greater detail what exactly you experienced during the actual absorption of energy.
Sure, we can talk about it later. Where are Zack and Kara? As if on cue, the two of them appear, each holding bags filled with what I assume is whatever loot they could be found.
Don't mind us. We just went on a little all-you-can-grab treasure buffet.
She grins and opens her pouch to hand something to Amy.
Here, I found this.
She hands Amelia an ancient tome.
I figured you might be interested in this sort of thing.
Amy carefully turns the pages of the book with great interest.
This is written in ancient Gaian script, a language of which I have studied, but of which I am not fluent.
It will take me some time to translate it using my references, but the content should be almost academic. She smiles at Kara.
Thank you.
Aww. Kara pats her on the head.
You're most welcome.
Everybody loves a lolly. Even though she's not really a lolly. A rumble from above interrupts us. We all tense up and go on high alert. But no rock slides occurred this time.
It looks like we got everything we need from here. Let's head out before another cave-in blocks our exit.
We all agree and, still on high alert, make our way out of the temple as quickly as we can. I wonder what that... In the last episode, we were presented with another absent minigame. Alpha projects and all that. I wonder, there should have been a little talky-talk bits. Why was there one there? There was, no reason for it. We make it out of the temple and back to the forest. The sunlight shimmers through the trees, making me wince and blink. Liana lets out a deep, relieved breath.
We made it. Now that we have successfully made it through the temple, let us not forget our purpose for coming here.
We look at Amelia with curiosity. She gestures to me.
His energy reading has increased substantially. Perhaps it is now possible for him to open a temporal rift.
You want to try that now? A grin spreads across Amelia's face.
Indeed.
This place is pretty barren. I suppose we can try it here. Kara blinks.
Oh, you're doing that again.
She shuffles away and away and away until she's behind a tree.
Keeping watch again?
You know it.
Zack creates a bit of distance too, but not as much as Kara. Liana and Amelia look at me.
Are you ready?
Kara's voice is far away.
Wait!
She races back, scoops up the pongo, who gives a little squeak of protest, and sprints back to her tree. Finally, she gives me a thumbs up.
Okay, good to go.
Alright, let's try it. Just do what you did last time, except now you can focus and channel your energy.
Amelia, who is standing beside her, nods. I close my eyes and I try to focus on creating a rift. I bring up my mind the images of what I first saw when I first entered Terra. I inhale and exhale slowly as I try to draw in on a peace I felt when I first met the earth elemental. I remember the scent of wildflowers, the fluttering of birds, and the creaking of the trees. It fills me with a soft, gentle calm, but it spreads through the rest of my body. An odd, tranquil stillness fills my mind.
Keep going. Visualize your cast.
My brow furrows as I see dark shapes peeling away at the sky. And suddenly a hot surge of energy flashes down my arm. There's a loud crack followed by a hiss, and I open my eyes. A churring wind pours out of my manipulator and swirls around the dirt and grass. The trees groan and sway. I try to keep the wind stable, but it's just too strong. The muscles in my arms strain with effort. The wind whips around Liana's hair and clothes. My cast is more powerful than before, but still unrefined.
You are nervous and panicking. Ease your mind and calm yourself.
Right, don't panic. Don't panic. My heart lurches. Anxiety coils in my stomach.
You may stop now.
I do as she says. The wind snarls and then smooths as a gentle breeze. The last bit of skims through the grass and then vanishes, quick as the butterfly flutter. My arm dangles at my side. They feel as if they've been pulled down by heavy weights. I take in deep breaths, my heart still pounding. I cringe and look up at the two. How'd I do? Liana hesitates.
That was a failure. Amelia!
Amy blinks in surprise.
Is that not what you were going to say? He was unable to create the rift.
Liana sighs and crosses her arms.
He did better than his first try. He actually cast something this time.
Amelia blinks again. Amelia blinks again. I think I already read that.
I see. I suppose there was some improvement.
She taps her chin in thought.
I believe your magic training should involve bettering your accuracy and honing your focus. At this point, we are still unsure if the inability to create the rift is from your lack of energy or technique.
Alright. I puff out a defeated sigh. It seems I still have a long way to go.
Hey, where did Zack go?
Huh? I looks up. Zack isn't anywhere in sight. That's weird. I glance around. Deep in the forest, I see a rustle of something black. I squint. Maybe it's Zack's trench coat. I zero in on Zack and Kara, peeking behind the same tree. Hey, when did you get all the way back there? Zack's voice is faint.
You couldn't control it. No way was I gonna stand there if you went splat. This coat is not easy to clean.
My jaw gives a little tweak. Thanks for the vote of confidence. Kara grins and claps her hands. She shouts for us to hear her.
You put on quite the show. Glad I wasn't there for it, though.
They're so afraid of magic. Liana frowns.
Okay, it's done now. Can you guys come back?
Oh, yeah. Kara skips over. Zack follows with his arms crossed.
So, where to next?
According to Elderism's notes, Ellendale is the closest city located to where the ancient people worshipped the air elemental. I believe we will be able to uncover more information from the library there.
Kara smiles and ruffles Amy's hair.
Sounds great, Amy.
Amelia flushes. She coughs and glances away.
Let us be on our way.
Poor Amelia. We hike out of the forest and find a new path. I'm still trying to get used to calling her Amy. Leads us north, and we begin traveling on foot for the rest of the day. My legs ache, and by the time the sun starts to disappear, I'm ready to collapse. Maybe I'm still feeling the effects of trying to cast earlier, but all this is walking is making me even more exhausted than usual. We keep walking until we find a good campsite. Liana says the large open space will be a good place for me to practice my wind magic in the morning. Amelia sparks a small campfire for us. Zach cooks up another delicious dinner, and by the time I'm done, I can barely keep my eyes open. The rest of the group is still up and talking, but as soon as I lay my head down, I tumble into a deep and fast sleep. Da 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 da. Next day, Liana and I get up bright and early. We decide to start sparring before the others wake up. Our swords clash and score heavy blows. Liana forces me backward with a huge grin on her face. I'm breathing hard and struggling to keep up as my blows knit in concentration. Liana sweeps my blade aside and comes back around, but I swing in time to deflect it. Her face brightens and she seems pleasantly surprised.
Wow, that's great! You're getting much better.
Really? Liana's grin turns devilish.
Hi-ya!
She lunges and I let out a sharp cry, barely raising my sword in time. Her movement quickens as she strikes harder. I struggle to keep up, but I manage to hold my own. Ultimately, Liana's final move knocks me to the ground. I groan, blinking up at the sky. It's hard to breathe with the wind knocked out of me. Are spars always going to end like this? Liana's face appears over mine. She smiles brightly.
That was so much better.
I lost yet again, though.
This time. But you're getting stronger and stronger every time.
That cheers me up a little. Liana extends her hand and humps me up.
Let's switch gears. You've been doing really well with sparring, so we should practice your magic training. You need to learn to refine your cast.
I know she's right, so I nod. I'm feeling more confident about it now that I know I can cast. I think back to the countless of previous training sessions that have been frustration that had come with it. Even though I know I still have much to learn before I reach anywhere near Liana's level, I'm just glad to be past those early stages.
Alright, practice channeling your energy through your manipulator. And this time, keep your focus on where you want to cast.
Let's not be a pervert. I want to float the pongo. I think of a great idea. I take a deep breath, focusing on the energy coursing through me. A cool trickle of magic surges down my arm. The pongo wiggles around, trying to get back on the ground.
What are you doing?
Making the pongo fly. The longer the pongo stays in the air, the more concerned he becomes and the harder he struggles. Hey, hold still!
Don't drop him!
I try to keep him steady, but there's more pongos panic, and the more difficult it is me for the concentrate and keep control. Sweat beads on my face as I try to keep the pongo afloat. Liana rushes closer and I lose my concentration. The pongo falls in the air and lands right in Liana's outstretched arms. Liana cuddles him close.
Don't worry, I've got you.
Once the pongo calms down, Liana lets him go. He hops out of her arm and back to the ground. He does an experimental bounce to make sure he stays grounded, then jiggles happily. Liana smiles as the pongo shuffles off, then returns to me. Sorry.
Maybe we should pick something more suitable for you to practice on.
Liana looks around and points to a large rock.
Try again on this rock.
I take a deep breath, clearing my mind, and I cast again. As usual, a solid gust of wind bursts forth, and I steadily float the rock into the air. Liana claps her hands together, a wide grin on her face.
Yes, that's it.
Hey, I'm doing it! The pongo glances at the floating rock curiously. In one motion, he jumps right onto the rock. But didn't we just get you down off that stupid thing? The moment startles me, and the rock jolts in midair. The pongo wobbles precariously as I can feel the nerves set in again as I fight to steady the rock.
It's okay. Don't panic. Just keep your focus. Try to float them towards you.
Alright, it's just heavier now that I've had to adjust my energy output. I breathe in and out to refocus. The rock stops swaying.
Good. Keep going.
A strong breeze whips around the pongo, keeping him in place. I close my eyes and picture him floating
You
closer.
got this.
I open my eyes. The rock with the pongo floats closer and closer. A huge grin blooms across my face. It's working. The pongo jumps from the rock and onto my head. As soon as the pongo touches me, I lose concentration and drop the rock. Liana giggles.
Great job.
Oh, her last name's Dawn? Just realized that. The pongo wiggles on top of my head. I should have blown up her skirt. Thanks for being a good sport. Liana giggles and pats the pongo.
I think that's enough training for today. You've made great progress.
Thanks. I can feel the fatigue starting to set in, and I'm grateful for Liana for ending the session.
Let's go rejoin the group.
Yeah, they should be all awake by now, I think. Liana nods, and the three of us return to camp. As predicted, everyone else is awake, and even breakfast is prepared. After we eat and clean up camp, we resume our journey. After a couple of days' travel, we continue to journey along the path when I noticed the thick clouds darken the sky. Kara and Liana cast worried glances above, and as a loud crack of thunder rolls above.
This does not look promising.
We should find shelter. We don't want to be caught in this storm.
Amelia cross-references where we are with Elder Esam's notes.
We are still quite a ways from Ellendale.
Then we'd better stop at the next city we see.
I think I have an idea of where we are. If I recall correctly, Wolfston should only be a few hours' travel. We can stop there.
Wolf's Den? Once agreed, we pick up the pace to combat the strengthening wind whipping around at us and make our course for Wolf's Den. Eventually, we see the tall towers of Wolf's Den. We shuffle through the city gates, casting worried glances at the ominous sky. The turbulent clouds don't look any less threatening. People keep their heads down as they push past each other on the streets. They must be looking for shelter from the storm. I look at the surrounding buildings. Most are storefronts which blend into each other as if trying to stay as inconspicuous as possible. As we travel deeper into town, a few opulent buildings loom in the sky. I guess that's where the better half lives. Liana shifts uncomfortably.
Is it just me, or are people staring at us?
Looking around, I notice all the furtive glances towards Liana as people give us wide berth in passing.
No, they're staring at you.
Zach's comments seem to make it even more anxious. I step closer to her and try to block her from view. She blinks in surprise and gives me a small smile.
Thanks, but I'm not sure how much that will help.
Maybe it'll discourage them from staring.
When you remember what kind of town Wolfston is, it's no surprise everyone is staring at her.
Let's give a quick save real quick. This music's pretty good here. I give Kara a questioning look. And what sort of town is this?
Let's just say that what happens in Wolfston stays in Wolfston.
Vegas, got it. Liana covers the sigil on a manipulator with one hand.
Maybe this isn't the best place for me to be advertising that I'm a part of the Mage Guild.
Zach nods.
Agreed. You're making them nervous.
The stairs remind me of when I first arrived in Meadowhell. Should we find a change of clothes to blend in more?
That is a satisfactory suggestion, but perhaps it should be executed without the presence of Liana. The longer she is in the streets, the more attention she draws.
Good point. Let's hurry up and find the inn. Liana can stay there, and I'll help her find a more suitable outfit.
Oh, I'm sure you will. As the wind picks up, more people creep out of the shadowed alleyways as they seek shelter. I instinctively check my pockets. Something about this place has me on edge. Liana is equally anxious. While Amy's expression doesn't change, she does seem more alert than usual. Only Zach and Kara seem unaffected. Before long, we reach the inn. I let out a relieved breath as the fire crackling in the hearth warms me. Kara and Zach go to secure us rooms and food, and the rest of us sit down in the secluded back corner. Although the lobby is full of people, it's more quiet than the other inns we've frequented. Most patrons drink alone, and those in groups murmur softly, trying to not draw attention to themselves. We aroused a few curious glances when we walked in, but once we shuffle out of sight, people relax and forget about us. The silence grows stifling as both Liana and Amelia wait for the rest of the group to come back. As I'm wondering if I should say something, Liana addresses Amy.
There's something that I've been wondering since Hearthpoint, but I haven't had a chance to ask.
Amy shifts her attention to Liana.
Your mother mentioned that it's taken you a while to get a field study approved. Yes, that is correct. I understand that such things take time as professors want to ensure the study is a proper fit for the student, but I will admit that I am beginning to become impatient.
She sighs.
Was the process for your field study equally taxing?
Liana shakes her head.
No, I actually got the first one I applied for.
Amy blinks and her eyes grow wide.
You were accepted upon your first application? Yeah.
She stares at Liana.
Maybe the process is different for mage knights and mage casters.
Amy continues to stare. Liana looks at me and I shrug.
Amy? I do not understand.
Oh, poor Amelia.
I have completed all the prerequisites necessary to apply for a field study. I have even attended supplementary training to increase my potential for the selection. For all intents and purposes, I should be the most ideal candidate for the mandatory field study. Is it just your professor's recommendation that you need? Correct, but I have been repeatedly told that the field study is not a good fit for me.
Liana rests her head in her hand as she thinks.
Do you think it has something to do with your age?
Amy frowns.
My age should not be an eligibility factor. I have proven myself to be capable enough to study as a mage caster. This is pretty strange. And they haven't given you a specific reason why you keep getting declined?
Amelia shakes her head.
I am quite perplexed by the situation, especially now that I understand my difficulties are not standard.
I can feel the frustration behind her words. It sounds like the Academy has it out for her, and I think she's only just started to realize that she's being treated differently. If it really shouldn't be this hard to get the program, you should have a serious discussion with your professors when you return. Give them a chance to communicate their concerns and explain why they haven't approved you. Liana nods.
I'm sure they have their reasons, and it would help you to know why.
Amy looks pensive as the conversation dies down. Time for a good save, because this game's getting again where I get scared. Kara and Zack soon return with bowls of food, which we quickly eat. As we push our empty bowls away, Kara drops a key into Liana's hand.
Okay, so here's a key to our room. You can go upstairs and lay low for the rest of the night. I'll go check the shops and grab an outfit for you.
She winks at Liana.
Don't worry, it'll still be cute.
I'm sure. Well, Zack silently hands me a key for our room. What about the storm?
Oh, I'll be okay. Zack will come with me.
Zack crosses his arms.
Didn't agree to this.
Kara feigns hurt.
You mean to say that you would let a young woman venture outside into the storm, in the middle of the night, in a dangerous city all on her own?
She's good. Zack's eyebrows twitches, but he tries to remain steadfast.
Guilt tripping me won't work.
Who knows what sort of ruffians are walking the streets as late? If they were to get the jump on me, then...
Okay, fine. I'll go with you. Jeez.
He pushes himself to his feet. Kara grins widely.
I knew you'd come around.
I'm only doing this so you can't blame anything on me later.
Kara smiles and drags Zack with her as they head towards the door.
I'll be back soon.
We watch them exit in silence.
Well, I'm gonna call it a night. As will I.
It's getting pretty late, and I thought for real bed is tempting, after having to camp out for so many nights. I think I'll turn in two. Together we head upstairs and split into our separate rooms. I relax in my bed for a while, enjoying the peacefulness of the night as I wait to fall asleep. The Pongo mysteriously emerges from somewhere and hops onto my bed. He bounces over and leans against me for a finding comfort spot on my bed to sleep. I'm not sure how much time passes, but I eventually hear Zach return to the room and go to bed. I fall asleep not too long after. Muffled steps in the hallway pull me awake. Blinking my eyes, I look around. The sun struggles to shine through the overcast sky, making it hard to determine just what time it is. Judging by the noises from outside, I'm guessing it's well into the late morning or early afternoon. Zach's bed is empty while the Pongo snores softly by my feet. He wakes up as I carefully crawl out of bed and, after blinking blearily eyes, grins widely at me.
Hi.
Good morning. Or I guess good afternoon. Yawning widely, I push myself completely out of bed and get ready for the day. For once, we don't have any agenda we need to follow while in this town. I wonder what others are up to and the city has to offer. Ready to go downstairs? The Pongo shies away and buries himself in my blankets.
Boy.
Huh, that's a weird reaction. You want to go exploring today?
Boy.
Pongo shakes his head. Check on him. I peel back the blankets until he pokes his head free. You okay?
Boy.
He grins at me and looks a little more like his cheerful self. Okay, good. Well, I'm going downstairs. You sure you don't want to come? He looks uneasy again and submerges back into the blankets.
Boy.
I guess he just doesn't like it here. Leaving the Pongo alone, I exit my room and head for the stairs. Before I reach them, I hear a strange noise coming from above. Is there an attic in this place? Investigate. Fuck horror movies. Okay. I'm a white guy. White guys always investigate these creepy ass shits. Yet there's a reason why horror movies, the white people die first. Wait a second. That's not true. In some horror movies it's true. Just look at The Conjuring. No one dies in The Conjuring. I just realized that. No one dies in The Conjuring. One person dies in Annabelle. Spoiler alerts, by the way, for everything. No one dies in the second Conjuring. People die in Annabelle 2. Lots of people die. And that's as far as we've gotten with that franchise, which I love so much. Regardless of what I'm trying to say, white people are stupid when it comes to horror. Including myself. Apparently. I tiptoe towards where I heard the noise and find a pull-down staircase. Already lowered, I slowly begin to climb up. As I get closer, I recognize the noise as a series of hushed poise. What the fucking fuck? Okay, then. Okay. The poise ceased to poke my head as I poked my head into the attic. Sitting in front of the card table is a large Pongo, the pudgiest Pongo I've ever encountered yet, wearing a three-piece suit and sporting a pencil mustache. A cigar hangs from his mouth. Two Pongo thugs sit on either side of the table. They all freeze and stare. They all freeze and stare at me. Too shocked to react, I stare back at them. After what feels like an eternity, the pudgy Pongo lowers his cigar. I better get out of here before he makes me a poifer. A poifer I can't refuse. What the fuck? Silently, I lower myself out of the room and quickly head down the stairs. I think I know why my Pongo didn't want to leave his room today. I think it's best to pretend that never happened. Shaking my head, I go downstairs to the lobby. Oh, my cheeks hurt from that one. The lobby is busy as was the night before, with the same number of people filling the tables. I spot Zach exactly where I expected him to be, right in front of the bounty boards. Kara nurses a drink alone at one of the tables, but I don't see Liana or Amy anywhere. I bet Liana's in a room. Let's just go in order. Liana seems pretty nervous last night. I wonder if she's still in her room. Making my way upstairs, I knock on her door, and after a moment, her voice calls out. It's me.
Oh, hey.
There's a silence as I wait for her to open the door, but she doesn't. Is everything okay?
Yep. Everything's fine.
Okay. She sounds really distracted.
Sorry. I'm a little busy right now. Amy and I are kind of in the middle of something. Do you think you can come back later?
Ah, so that's where Amelia is too. Sure, sorry to disturb you. She doesn't answer. That was kind of weird. I hope she isn't annoyed with me. I better leave her alone for now and check in later if I have time. Let's talk to Zach. I approach Zach at the boards. Hey. He glances at me, then nods in acknowledgement. Say anything good?
Yes, actually.
I look at the boards and let out a breath of surprise. Whereas most of the boards in the inn have a few flyers pinned to them, this board is covered in wanted posters. Whoa, that is a lot of bounties. Zach grins.
Check out the payout on these things.
He points to a poster of a scarred man with a grizzled face and deep frown. Underneath his mugshot lists a number of more zeros than that have ever existed in my bank account. Damn. Zach nods. I can't help myself as I continue to scan the board, taking note of the offer bounties. Zach grins as he throws my words back at me.
See anything good?
It's Zach. What's the worst that can happen? What could she have done that's so bad? Be too sexy? Zach glances at the poster.
Rumor has it she found out her husband cheated on her, so she grabbed the kitchen knife and cut off his...
Okay, never mind. All the mercenaries should just come to Wolf's Den and check out the bounty board here.
A lot of them do.
Really?
Why do you think this inn is so full?
I look around the inn again. That would explain why so many patrons are just people drinking alone. One such man pushes himself unsteadily to his feet and sways over to the board. He leans in until his nose nearly touches one of the posters, then nods in satisfaction. As he's about to stumble away, he pauses when he sees Zach. He stares at him for an uncomfortably long time.
Hey, don't I know you?
Zach barely bats an eye.
No.
The drunk is undeterred and comes closer. He peers at Zach again, trying to get his eyes to focus. Zach steps back as the man nears. Suddenly, the man straightens up excitedly.
No way. You're the Death Slinger.
Death Slinger? At the mention of the name, the inn falls silent. Then tendrils of whisper begin to snake around us.
You're mistaken.
Zach's expression is stonier than usual, but the drunk is unfazed.
I never thought I'd see you here. But it makes sense. Everybody makes it to Wolf's Den sooner or later.
You have the wrong guy.
The drunk squints and shakes his head.
It must be you. A trench coat, scar over one eye.
The whispers increase and hurried murmurs as all eyes fall on us. The drunk thinks for a second.
But do you have purple discharges too?
He reaches towards Zach, holster discharges, but Zach smoothly steps away.
If I were the Death Slinger, would you really want to piss me off?
Zach's icy warning causes the inn to fall silent again. The drunk sways curiously as the mudged gears in his head turn. The understanding finally dawns.
Oh, right. I'll leave you alone. Sorry.
As the man stumbles back to his table, Zach sits down at an empty table in the corner. I silently follow, feeling the weight of everyone's gaze. When I sit down, Zach glares at the people around us as they cause them to quickly turn back to their tables and resume whatever they were doing. Many of them seem suddenly interested in their drinks. Zach doesn't seem inclined to talk about the silence, but the silence is stifling. So, are you the Death Slinger? So, are you the Death Slinger? Zach just fixes me in an unamused look. I guess humor was not the way to go to break the ice. The innkeeper walks over and places 2 drinks at the table. Zach looks at him and quietly speaks.
On the house.
Quickly.
We don't want any trouble here.
Zach nods and takes a sip from one of his drinks.
Thanks.
A look of relief washes over the innkeeper's face as he walks away. Gradually, life returns to the inn as people lose interest in us. So who exactly is the Death Slinger?
He's a mercenary.
Most mercenaries don't silence an entire inn at the mention of their name.
You're right.
He takes another drink. I wait for him to continue, but he doesn't. I don't think I'll be getting any more out of him now. Since things have begun to feel more normal, I relax a bit and take a sip of my drink. Zack and I quickly finish the rest of our drinks. Although his stony frown has lessened, I think it'd be best to give him some space. I say my goodbyes and leave the table. Let's talk to Kara. I plop down on the table across from Kara. She raises an eyebrow as I sit. And we'll continue this in the next episode. I hate to do that, but it's getting late. We're recording for over 30 minutes, and I'm quite hot, and there's other reasons. So if you enjoyed this episode, I mean, I gotta see Pongo's playing poker. I got Pongo Mafia and the Earth Elemental. But if you're enjoying, I can't wait to see them. That's why Amelia and Liana are probably in the room together. They're probably getting her the outfit on. But knowing Kara, she probably got her something skimpy. And Amelia is trying to help fix it, probably. That's my thought process. Gearing, click, 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 click. So the Death Slinger, huh? Neat. And if you enjoyed this episode, leave a like and share it around. It helps me grow the channel, and I really appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter and subscribe to the channel to become an Ember of the Phoenix. In doing so, you'll never miss when a video goes live, and you'll get to know when I'm going to be doing something special. The link to that's on the description below and in the front page of the channel. And with all that said, this has been Black Phoenix. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.